Meet with Baby that Tuesday, supposed to flew out that Tuesday and died that Saturday. And that took me out of music. That took me out of working with artists. That took me out of not one. I lost a lot of women with that because YoungN was probably the most loyal artist I ever worked with. Nobody was better than YoungN to YoungN. When YoungN come in the room, his charisma was like, I'm here, YoungN here. Like he wanted you to know, I'm the one, baby.
I'm like, life shorter than a Vic trying to get a Dino scramble. Just blow the Dodge Challenger in the casino gambling. Second feed up, I had to do it for the family. Feed, it's a classic like Southern versus Grambling. Walk the road the riches used to scramble like Randall. Strap like a sandal, rubber grip handle. Paint that picture just like Picasso or John Vandal. They trying to bite my shit like Tyson did Evander.
On the night of April 29, 2017, Desmond Jerome, known to the hip-hop world as BTY YoungN, pulled into a Shell gas station in the 9200 block of Airline Highway in Hollygrove, New Orleans. It was approximately 11 p.m. on a Saturday evening, and the 27-year-old rapper had no idea he was living his final moments. BTY YoungN had survived the treacherous streets of New Orleans for years, navigating through a lifestyle that claimed many of his peers, but on this particular night, his luck would run out in the most devastating way possible. The Hollygrove neighborhood was notorious for its violence, a place where territorial disputes and street conflicts were settled with gunfire rather than words. BTY YoungN knew these streets intimately. He had grown up in this environment, and despite his rising success in the music industry, he never abandoned his roots or the community that shaped him. That loyalty, as noble as it was, would ultimately contribute to the circumstances that led to his untimely demise.
Everybody tell me chill, but chill, don't pay them bills. Could put a 3 on that boy, never left that girl alone. Paper like the mailman, bought it like Carmelo, never.
Most influential labels. In 2016, BTY YoungN signed a deal with Cash Money Records, the legendary New Orleans-based label founded by Brian Birdman Williams and Ronald Slim Williams. This was the same label that launched the careers of Lil Wayne, Drake, and Nicki Minaj.
Holla at us, man. Who got it, talk, huh? Stunner right chill, nigga. Y'all know what's up, huh? Huh? Rich ganger don't bang, little bitty bitch. We in the Bugatti, I don't even know how to work this shit. Shit's so foreign. You know what I'm saying? Feature prices, shows, walkthroughs, everything went up, nigga. Huh? Come on, man. Everything went up, nigga.
Hey, guess what? We about to lay shit bitch.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Gang, nigga.
Come on. Gang. Gang, gang. We come to get that bag and we gonna leave, nigga. Like he said, we come to get that bag and we gonna leave, nigga. Bugatti talk, nigga. Huh? Huh?
For a young rapper from Hollygrove, this represented the pinnacle of success, the realization of a dream that seemed impossible just years earlier. His affiliation with Birdman's Rich Gang crew gave him immediate credibility in the industry. BTY YoungN's music reflected his experiences, his lyrics painting vivid pictures of life in New Orleans' toughest neighborhoods. His flow was distinctive, carrying the authentic voice of someone who had lived every word he rapped. Fans connected with his honesty, his refusal to fabricate a persona or manufacture street credibility he didn't possess. According to his mentor, Michael Misdemeanor Patterson, BTY YoungN had reached a point in his life where freedom seemed attainable. He had reached the point in his life that he became so free.
But right before he got killed, we talked. And he said, man, he said, you told me this. A man gonna do what a man gotta do and deal with the responsibilities after. Hey bro, if I listen to everything you say and just follow everything you do and it don't go right, I'm gonna be mad with you. Some of these things as a man, I gotta decide what I wanna do. And as a man, I'm just doing what I think is best for me. I said, you know what, young, you're right. So we had got back in good rhythms and he was doing the Cash Money deal. I had went over the paperwork from him, circled some things out from him. So I was like his...
Patterson would later tell reporters, his voice heavy with grief. The rapper had been working on new material, preparing for what many believed would be his breakout moment in mainstream hip-hop. Industry insiders predicted that BTY YoungN could be the next major artist to emerge from New Orleans' rich musical landscape. But success in the music industry doesn't automatically erase the complications of street life. BTY YoungN remained connected to his neighborhood, maintaining relationships with friends and associates from before his record deal. This connection to his roots, while admirable, meant he was still exposed to the dangers and conflicts that plagued Hollygrove.
Like if Juvie gonna rekindle UTP, he gotta start it off with you. Like you'll be the perfect artist to get it out the gate. But Juve knew it was a problem. He meaning like it was a street problem. Like he had beef, he was beefing, he toted guns, he was really active on the stuff that he talked about. I was trying to protect him. I wasn't putting him in shows, I wasn't doing certain things because I felt like that was gonna be a ticket for somebody. If you got beef, they know you're gonna.
What made BTY YoungN's death even more heartbreaking was the timing. Just 6 weeks before that fatal night at the Shell gas station, he had become a father. His newborn son represented everything he was working toward, a new generation that would benefit from his success and wouldn't have to endure the same struggles he faced growing up. According to his mother, who spoke to media outlets in the days following his death, BTY YoungN was excited about fatherhood. He talked about being present in his son's life, about providing opportunities he never had, about breaking the cycle of violence and poverty that trapped so many young men in his community. The cruel irony was devastating. At just 6 weeks old, his son would grow up without ever knowing his father, without memories of the man who wanted so desperately to give him a better life. BTY YoungN's mother's grief was compounded by this reality. Not only had she lost her son, but her grandson would never experience his father's presence, guidance, or love. Family members described BTY YoungN as someone who was transitioning. He wasn't abandoning his past, but he was building toward a different future. The Cash Money Records deal represented financial stability. His music was gaining traction. He had a newborn son who needed him. Everything seemed to be aligning for a transformation from street life to legitimate success in the music industry.
What he wanted out of that, his main thing was, to make sure his mom and his sister, and he had a baby, as a matter of fact, at the time, his dad, a 2-week-old son, to make sure we're straight. That was his main thing. He rapped about that in so many of his songs that he just want to make sure his mom and them be okay.
Perhaps the most tragic detail about BTY YoungN's death was revealed in the weeks following the shooting. He was killed just days before a scheduled meeting with a lawyer to finalize and expand his deal with Cash Money Records. This wasn't just a routine meeting. It represented a significant advancement in his career, potentially involving more money, greater creative control, and increased promotional support from one of hip-hop's most powerful labels. Those close to BTY YoungN said he was excited about this meeting. He had been preparing, working on new music, strategizing about his career trajectory. The meeting represented validation, confirmation that Cash Money Records saw long-term potential in him as an artist. It was supposed to be the beginning of a new chapter, the moment when he transitioned from promising talent to established artist with serious backing. Instead, his life was cut short in a gas station parking lot, his potential forever unrealized, his music career ending before it truly began. The timing felt almost cruelly deliberate, as if fate had waited until he was on the precipice of everything he'd worked for before snatching it away. On May 13, 2017, just 2 weeks after BTY YoungN's murder, the New Orleans Police Department made a significant announcement. They had identified their primary suspect, Daryl Bannister Jr. According to NOPD, Bannister was wanted for second-degree murder in connection with the April 29th shooting. An arrest warrant had been issued, and police were actively searching for him. The identification of a suspect so quickly was seen as a positive development in a city where many homicides go unsolved for months or years, if they're solved at all. For BTY YoungN's family, the news provided a small measure of hope that justice might be served, that their loved one's killer would be held accountable. However, police cautioned that Bannister remained at large. They released his information to the public, asking anyone with knowledge of his whereabouts to contact Crime Stoppers or the NOPD Homicide Division. At the time of the announcement, police did not release a photograph or detailed description of Bannister, which complicated efforts to locate him. The investigation revealed that there was likely more than one person involved in the shooting. Detectives were working to identify additional suspects and determine the full scope of the conspiracy that led to BTY YoungN's death. In July 2017, 2 months after identifying Daryl Bannister Jr. as the primary suspect, New Orleans police announced they were seeking a second individual for questioning. Kieran Williams, 27 years old at the time, was named as a person of interest in BTY YoungN's murder. Police were careful to clarify that Williams was not yet considered a suspect, but investigators believed he might have information critical to solving the case. The NOPD statement indicated that Williams might have witnessed aspects of the crime or possessed knowledge about the planning or execution of the shooting. Detectives wanted to interview him to piece together a complete timeline of events and understand the motivations behind the murder. The addition of Williams to the investigation suggested the complexity of the case. This wasn't a simple dispute between two individuals. Multiple people appeared to be involved, either directly in the shooting or in the planning and aftermath. The web of connections and relationships in Hollygrove street life made untangling the truth a complicated process for investigators. Then came a development that shocked BTY YoungN's family, friends, and supporters. On March 7, 2018, nearly a year after the arrests, the Orleans Parish District Attorney's Office announced that murder charges against both Daryl Bannister Jr. and Kieran Williams were being dismissed. The case, which had seemed relatively straightforward, had collapsed. The reasons for the dismissal were not fully explained in public statements, but legal experts and those familiar with the case pointed to several possible factors. Witness cooperation is notoriously difficult to secure in communities like Hollygrove, where cooperating with police can result in retaliation. It's possible that key witnesses recanted their statements or became unavailable to testify. Alternatively, there may have been issues with the evidence that prosecutors believed would undermine their ability to secure convictions at trial. Whatever the specific reasons, the result was devastating for BTY YoungN's family. Justice, which had seemed within reach, slipped away. The men who police believed were responsible for the rapper's death were free. The case effectively closed despite no one being held accountable. This outcome is sadly common in New Orleans and other cities with high rates of violent crime. According to statistics, a significant percentage of homicides go unsolved or result in charges being dropped before trial. Prosecutors are reluctant to take cases to trial unless they're confident in securing convictions, and defense attorneys are skilled at identifying weaknesses in the state's case. For BTY YoungN's mother, who had already endured the unimaginable pain of losing her son, the dismissal of charges added another layer of grief. Not only was her son gone, but his killers would apparently face no consequences. The 6-week-old baby who lost his father would grow up knowing that no one was ever held accountable for that loss. His death also represents the broader tragedy of communities caught in cycles of violence, where success can breed deadly jealousy, where the no snitching code prevents justice, and where talented young people are lost to gunfire before they can fully share their gifts with the world. Breaking these cycles requires more than individual effort. It requires systemic change, community investment, and a commitment to addressing the root causes of violence. For those who knew and loved BTY YoungN, his memory lives on through his music, through the stories shared by family and friends, and through his son who carries his legacy forward. May his story serve as both a remembrance of a life cut too short and a call to action to prevent similar tragedies from claiming more promising young lives. Rest in peace, BTY YoungN, Desmond Jerome. Your potential was limitless, your talent undeniable, and your loss immeasurable.